Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ed Lyon at TAXCoach Software, and welcome to this preview presentation of the Certified Tax Master Tax Strategy Conference, which we'll be hosting November 15th through 17th here in cosmopolitan, sophisticated Cincinnati, Ohio. Glad to see so many of you here joining us for the presentation. I'm looking forward to walking you through a little bit about the CTM program, a little bit more about the CTM Tax Strategy Conference, and clarifying how you can reserve a seat before it is filled up. It is worth noting that at this time we do not have another CTM Tax Strategy Conference planned. I know there are some members who have told us they'd like to wait for it to return to Dallas before they sign up. We currently don't have any reservations for a time for the next CTM conference. We don't know when it's going to be. We also don't know where it's going to be and can't guarantee that it would be in Dallas or any place else. All right. You should be seeing the PowerPoint screen here with the title slide, and we'll go ahead and jump into it. First, I want to talk a little bit about the CTM program itself. CTM stands for Certified Tax Master. Our goal here is to give Certified Tax Masters a competitive edge in the face of technological change. And we're going to talk a little bit about that technological change in just a bit. But that's the fundamental goal, is to give you a competitive edge in a competitive tax market in the face of technical and technological change. The goal is to give clients what they really want. Clients come to you for the numbers, but what clients really want from you are lower personal taxes and numbers that help them run their business. Most clients don't feel they really get that from their tax relationship. We want to help you promote services that can't simply be outsourced to artificial intelligence. And by that, we mean a couple of core mainstays of your business, specifically bookkeeping and tax preparation. The robots are coming for your job, whether you like it or not. We'll talk about how fast they're coming and how likely they are to take those jobs, but make no mistake, they are coming for you. We want to give you tools and resources that you can use to build your business, not just continue what you're currently doing, but actually build your business. We're looking to build an elite, specialized community. And finally, we're looking to give you resources and services to support plan implementation as a certified tax master. All right, let me walk a little bit through the specific program agenda of the Tax Strategy Conference, November 15th through 17th here in Cincinnati. We're going to start by talking about our vision of Tax Pro 3.0, and in just a minute we will walk you through Tax Pro 1.0 and 2.0 and discuss why we think 3.0 is a better alternative, along with a snazzy acronym. We're going to introduce you to the concept of the fractional family office, which we think you'll agree is a terrific new model for delivering financial services to high-income business owners and high-net-worth clients. We're going to talk about marketing and positioning yourself as a certified tax master. We're going to talk about specific tax strategies that fall into the timing, shifting, and code categories. We're also going to introduce specific tax strategies that fall under the financial products designation. We'll talk about those four buckets of strategies about halfway through the presentation. We're going to spend a fair amount of time walking through retirement planning strategies. We're going to explode some of the myths that can end up costing your clients a lot of money in taxes they don't have to pay, and in using these myths to distinguish yourself from your competition, both on the tax side and on the financial advisory side. Finally, we're going to discuss different models for adding financial services to your practice. There are lots of ways that you can do this that don't necessarily involve getting licensed, getting registered, becoming a registered representative, and dealing with all of those compliance hassles. Finally, we're going to spend the last half hour of the presentation talking about the CTM program benefits. And I'm going to be very honest here, because I don't want to lure anyone to the conference on false pretenses. There is going to be a lot of great content. You're going to find the great content constitutes the overwhelming bulk of the presentation. However, there will be a half-hour sales pitch at the end of the conference for the CTM program. And a member on the call says, that's a lot to talk about, Ed. How many hours will this presentation take? This presentation that I'm hosting now should be over within 45 minutes. Depends on how long Q&A takes. The conference itself is going to be a full 2.5 hours, or I'm sorry, full 2.5 days. And when I say a full 2.5 days, I mean it will be a very full 2.5 days. A lot of material. It will be drinking, like drinking from a fire hose. All right, let's talk about the evolution of the tax business, tax pros from 1.0 to 3.0, or let's take a good hard look at your business model. Technology is changing everything around us. In fact, the pace of technological change is accelerating so fast that a lot of times we don't even realize it. If you're a parent of children, you have probably told them more than once, don't talk to strangers on the internet and don't get into strange cars. Well, you've got an app on your phone that lets you use the internet to call a stranger so that you can get in their car for a ride. It's called Uber, and in a lot of cities, it is devastating the taxi cab industry, which has been a mainstream of local transportation. All right, I'm told that the slides are not advancing the way they should, so let's see if this does it for us. You should have the Uber logo on your screen. Yeah, you tell your kids, don't talk to strangers on the internet, but you're happy to call a stranger from the internet using your telephone to get a cab. Technology is changing, and we've just seen a new CEO coming in at Uber. It looks like it's going to be the most anticipated initial public offering in a long, long time. Most anticipated IPO since Facebook a few years ago. That's coming within the next 18 months. We've all heard of Amazon. Most of us shop on Amazon. I would bet that a majority of the 100 of us on this call are Amazon Prime members. Amazon doesn't need physical stores, does it? But Amazon has physical stores now, Amazon Go, where you walk into the store with an app on your phone, you walk out of the store, you don't even pay for your items at the store. Technology does all of the work for you. Technology replaces the people that would be staffing the registers, charging you for your purchases on the way out. Completely eliminates that step. Amazon started out as an online bookstore. 2 nights ago in Chicago, I passed a physical bricks and mortar Amazon bookstore in Chicago. Technology is changing everywhere. It will change our industry. We need to keep up with it, whether we like it or not. How is technology going to change our industry? Well, it's going to be a real problem if you are what we call a tax pro 1.0. If you make your living recording history for clients, using a software program, preparing their taxes, maybe doing their bookkeeping, doing their payroll, that kind of work is ripe for being outsourced. And in fact, the big 4 firms are looking at systems to replace most of their staff. Bookkeeping is becoming increasingly automated. There are systems now, apps on telephones that can download and reconcile bank transactions, match them to expenses. the job of bookkeeper is being phased out. And if you don't believe me, go to a website called willrobotstakemyjob.com. Don't do it right now because you're watching my presentation. Actually, I'll spare you the trip to willrobotstakemyjob.com. If you type in the category accountant, there's a 94% chance that robots will take your job. If you type in the job category tax preparer, there is a 99% chance that robots will take your job. Technology is advancing to the point where it's not just helping you do your work more efficiently. It's threatening to do your work for you. That is a huge transformational difference. If your practice and your income and your financial security rest on a foundation of recording history for your clients, you're a dinosaur, and the meteor is headed for you. You probably don't even see it. We don't know when the meteor is going to hit. It's not going to hit tomorrow, but it's headed your way, like it or not. Now, a CPA, a Tax Pro 2.0, a CPA 2.0, an EA 2.0, is someone who recognizes that the meteor is headed their way. And if the screen sharing is working properly, you'll see that the dinosaur sees the meteor headed for him right now. A Tax Pro 2.0 right now looks an awful lot like a successful TAXCoach member who has branched out beyond recording history and become a proactive advisor. That takes a lot of different forms. That may be doing proactive tax planning in addition to recording the history. That's the typical model. It may include being a part-time CFO or providing genuine business consulting services to clients so that you really are helping them make smart business decisions with the numbers that you compile for them. Tax Pro 2.0 does more than just record history. Is that going to be enough, though, in a competitive market? Regardless of what kind of dinosaur you are, the dinosaurs did all get wiped out by that meteor that hit Mexico 65 million years ago. The animals that survived were the little mammals living underfoot, living underneath the dinosaurs. They were nimble, they were quick, they weren't dinosaurs, and they survived. Our vision of CPA 3.0, EA 3.0, Tax Professional 3.0, is a tax professional who uses proactive tax planning not just for its own sake, but as the tip of the spear for a wider variety of services so that the tax pro can sell an overall relationship rather than specific services. For many TAXCoach members, that's now taking the form of adding financial services. So in a single sentence, the unique selling proposition of the Certified Tax Master Program is advanced training in using tax planning to build your business for CPAs and enrolled agents who want to incorporate financial services into their business. So that is the ultimate goal. Now, there are a lot of different models for incorporating financial services into your business. It does not mean necessarily that you're getting registered as a registered representative or that you're offering financial services through the TAXCoach parent company of Financial Gravity. We have a new TAXCoach member, new and enthusiastic TAXCoach member, who I think exemplifies this technological change right now. He says, speaking of evolution, I'm watching this on an iPhone and taking notes on an iPad at Target because I couldn't get home in time to use my Wi-Fi. I really think that says it all. And if your clients can't get their information to you, pretty soon they're not going to need to get their information to you at all unless you give them a unique and compelling reason to do business with you. Now, when is this going to happen? Beats the heck out of me. But I love this quote from Bill Gates. We always overestimate the change that will occur in the next 2 years and underestimate the change that will occur in the next 10. Don't let yourself be lulled into inaction. A lot of Tax Coach members look at this technology and they say, well, it's not here yet. I'm fine. I'm okay. Maybe you're 55, 60 years old. You think you can coast until retirement, not worry about technological change, and have a saleable practice. Well, a lot of people in technology are overestimating the change that will occur in the next 2 years. A lot of people are building robots right now to take your job, and they think those robots will be ready in 2 years, and maybe they won't, but they will be a lot more advanced than you think in 10 years. And as I said earlier, if your income and your ultimate retirement financial security are dependent on a business that's dedicated to recording history, you're a dinosaur at some point. Don't take my word for it. Take Bill Gates' word. He's smarter than any of us. All right, let's talk a little bit about specifically what you'll learn to offer your prospects and clients as a result of attending the Tax Strategy Conference. And I'm actually giving serious thought to changing the name of the Tax Strategy Conference to the Green Light Academy. I want to walk through an analogy that I've seized on in the last year to understand how the tax system works, and one that I think you'll find is very successful to use with prospects and clients. Now, the tax code is 70,000 pages of unintelligible gobbledygook. It is a disgrace to the human race. It is twice as long as the Bible with none of the good news. I believe Will Rogers is the one who described it as that. But I'd like you to think, for purposes of our discussion today, of the tax code, as a series of red lights and green lights. Red lights where you pay, green lights where you don't have to. So let's take a look at some specifics. Section 1A, the very first section of the tax code, tax imposed. Married individuals filing joint returns and surviving spouses pay a tax determined in accordance with the tax table. I'd say that's a red light. Stop and pay tax. Pretty unmistakable. But very quickly, as you move into the tax code, you get through the red lights and into the green lights. So Section 101 on certain death benefits says that gross income does not include amounts received under a life insurance contract if such amounts are paid by reason of the death of the insured. That's a green light. Where the tax code says gross income does not include, that's a green light. Section 105, amounts received under accident and death plans, amounts attributable to employer contributions. Gross income does not include amounts referred to in subsection A. In other words, gross income does not include medical benefits that would be deductible under Section 213 that are paid by an employer. That's a great green light. And in fact, TaxCoach has a strategy called the Medical Expense Reimbursement Plan that helps you take advantage of that green light on behalf of your clients. Section 162, trade or business expenses. There shall be allowed as a deduction. Well, when you see the words, there shall be allowed as a deduction, you're looking at a green light. All the ordinary and necessary expenses incurred during the taxable year in carrying on any trade or business. Now, a lot of lawyers have billed a lot of hours arguing the meaning of ordinary and necessary. They have a lot of fun doing it. But the concept is there shall be allowed as a deduction your business expenses. That's a green light. Section 170, charitable contributions and gifts. There's that language again. There shall be allowed as a deduction any charitable contribution. Now, there are a lot of rules about charitable contributions. They have to be made to 501c3 organizations. There's a limit on adjusted gross income on how much you can deduct in any particular year, blah, blah, blah. But the concept is a green light. You get to go. You don't have to pay tax on that income. Section 179, first year expensing. A taxpayer can elect to treat the cost of any Section 179 property as an expense rather than capitalizing it. Any costs so treated shall be allowed as a deduction. There's that word again. So it is a green light. So here we have a tax code that is a series of red lights and green lights. Now, most of you currently focus most of your business on compliance. That's red lights. Most tax professionals focus on the red lights, and that is important. I don't mean to minimize the importance of red lights at all. If you blow through the red lights, that's how you get in trouble. But most tax professionals could do a far better job of identifying the green lights that help their clients pay less tax. And this is a very easy analogy to bring to a client. It's a 2-minute discussion of the red lights, the green lights, some examples of the green lights, and then a question to a prospect. When was the last time your tax pro came to you with a green light? The answer most of the time is going to be never. It opens the conversation. It drives a wedge between your listener and their current tax professional. Now, when you ask that question, you imply a promise. You imply to your listener that you've got the green lights that they're not currently getting. That's where we come in. The Tax Strategy Conference, the Green Light Conference, will help you hone your planning skills and give you the green lights that you need to fulfill that promise. All right. Here at TaxCoach, we divide tax planning strategies into 4 categories, 4 buckets, if you will. They're timing-based strategies, like putting income in a 401k, avoiding tax now, and deferring it until later. There are income shifting strategies, like hiring your children to work in your business and shifting income to them to be taxed at their lower rate. There are code-based strategies, like the Augusta rule, which lets you rent your home to your business for up to 14 days of tax-free income. And finally, there are product-based strategies, understanding how different investments work and how tax-advantaged products work that will help your clients minimize or entirely eliminate tax on their investments. So 4 buckets: timing, shifting, code, and product. Most tax professionals are perfectly comfortable with timing, shifting, and code-based strategies. They aren't as proactive as they could be, but they are, for the most part at least, comfortable with those strategies. They are much less informed and much less comfortable with product-based strategies. Yet, if you really want to work with your clients and all of their other professional advisors to minimize their taxes, you really do have to understand those product-based strategies and how those products work, whether you are offering them as part of your business or not. See, I said there are lots of different models to incorporate financial services in your business, financial advisory services. You don't have to be the one offering the product if that's something you don't want to do. But you do have to be familiar with different products, how they're taxed, how they work and don't work in the context of your client's overall plans. So the CTM conference focuses on all 4 of those buckets: timing, shifting, code, and product. We walk through a lot of very specific strategies in a fair amount of detail. These may be concepts that you're familiar with, but aren't currently using in your business. Charitable trusts, for example. We spend a good hour on day 2 discussing different charitable trusts. We talk quite a bit about a charitable remainder trust, which is a strategy that avoids tax on appreciated assets, provides income to the grantor for a period certain or life, and then deposits the remainder to charity. So we'll walk through how the charitable remainder trust works. We'll walk through the various options for terms, lifetime, joint lifetime, period, certain. We'll even give you a strategy for reforming an existing charitable trust. It's not uncommon for you to have a client who set up a charitable trust in the past, and the income stream that they are getting from that charitable trust does not meet their current needs. Either it's not enough income, or they don't need the income, and they just as soon get rid of it. Well, the income interest that a client owns in a charitable remainder trust is actually a capital asset. It can be sold, it can be liquidated, and the client can then reform the trust or reform that income interest. We're going to walk through the different income interests that can be created in a charitable trust, all the variations of annuity trust and unitrust, which includes the standard, the net income charitable remainder unitrust, the net income makeup charitable remainder unitrust, and flip trusts. If you're like most TaxCoach members, I've probably already exhausted your knowledge of charitable remainder trusts. So we walk through how the trusts are created, how the trust works, how the trusts are taxed, walk through examples of how charitable remainder trusts can avoid tax on appreciated assets and create a nice upfront deduction, walk through the concept of a wealth replacement trust, which replaces the assets lost to charity for the heirs of the grantor. It's a very powerful strategy. We also spend a fair amount of time the morning of day 3 on retirement income planning. This is a great entree to tap into the W-2 market. And I know one of the biggest frustrations for TaxCoach members is that most of these strategies apply to business owners, but not W-2 earners. How do you break into the high-income W-2 market? Well, retirement planning is a terrific way to do that. There are a lot of myths out there in the financial services industry, a lot of ignorant Susie Ormans in the world who will be happy to tell your clients how they should be investing their retirement money. But those retirement planning myths and cliches aren't always right. So we look at a 3-prong approach for taxation on retirement planning. We start with the seed, then look at the growth, and look at the harvest. And for each individual client, we want to look at the tax treatment for their strategy. Do they get a deduction? Do they get a tax break in the seed stage, the growth stage, or the harvest stage? With taxable stock, for example, with the seed, there's no deduction on the seed stage. You're going to pay tax on whatever money you use to invest in a taxable stock portfolio. There will be some tax advantage during the growth stage because you're going to pay discounted tax on the dividend income. Finally, you're going to get tax advantages on the harvest. You'll either pay a discounted tax on capital gains or no tax at all on a stepped-up basis. Traditional IRAs and qualified plans, let's take a look how they fit into the seed, growth, and harvest model. Well, you get your tax deduction on the seed. You get to deduct your contribution going in, which means you avoid tax on the smallest amount. There's also no growth, no tax on the growth. But when it comes to the harvest, you've got to pay tax on the distributions. That means you'll be paying ordinary income tax on the largest amount. Is this always the right plan for your clients? Probably not. In fact, if you have really high income W-2 clients, it's probably the wrong plan. You have clients who will never be out of the top tax bracket. Roth IRAs and qualified plans flip this traditional model. There is no deduction on the seed that goes in, no deduction on the smallest amount, but there's no tax on the growth and no tax on the harvest. No tax on the distributions, which is the largest amount. And for a lot of clients, it's going to make more sense to forego a tax break now, particularly with tax rates at historical lows, and pay tax on the harvest down the road. Annuities. You see a lot of financial salespeople talking about annuities. Are they really all they're cracked up to be? Well, generally they're not. You get no deduction on the seed. There's no deduction on the money going into the growth, into the investment. You defer tax on the growth, but the harvest is fully taxable at ordinary income rates. That means even if your client is investing in a variable annuity with equity subaccounts that would be taxed at capital gains rates outside an annuity, or an equity index annuity where they're getting equity kicker growth, they're going to pay ordinary income tax at the highest rate on all of that growth. In many cases, an annuity takes tax-favored treatment, capital gains treatment, and converts it to ordinary income. That's rarely worth doing in a non-qualified setting. That might surprise you. We will talk a fair amount about the use of life insurance in a retirement plan context. Life insurance is taxed like a Roth. There's no deduction on the seed, there's no growth on the tax, but if properly structured, the harvest is tax-free through loans, withdrawals, and tax-free transfers. All right, let's take a look at what some of the attendees at the first conference said, because the feedback was all positive, and in fact, we've incorporated that feedback and made some changes to the academy that we're going to be presenting here in Cincinnati, November 15th through 17th. Nicole Albrecht in Temecula, California says, "This conference was the catalyst I've been looking for. I came here at a crossroads with my practice. I'm confident and extremely grateful that financial gravity will help me get out of my business daily grind and into the next level. I had lots of opportunities to learn from other practitioners, software, processes, staffing levels, etc. This will really help me manage my business. CTM gives tools in an organized manner that kept my attention, and I have great take-home notes to begin implementing what I learned." Nicole Albrecht from Temecula, California. Jackie Meyer stayed very engaged throughout, unlike most conferences. On one idea alone, I texted a client that day to implement and save $50,000 plus in selling a business. Wow. Actionable ideas that you can put to work immediately. Finally, Christy Bender outside Philadelphia says, "I joined TAXCoach because I've always wanted to help my clients lower their tax bill. This training has formalized it. With these tools and knowledge, my work is going to be creative. My clients will benefit for decades from the results, and my practice will embody true service with and for a much better class of clientele." So let's talk about the specifics. How do you stand out from the crowd? You start with the CTM Tax Strategy Conference. You visit taxcoachsystem.com/CTM to sign up. The conference registration fee for the 2.5 days is $999. That is the early bird registration fee. That goes away on September 15th. After September 15th, it reverts to the regular price of $1,247. So go ahead and get registered now to take advantage of the early bird discount and also to save your seat. The first conference sold out a month ahead of time. We actually had a waiting list of 30 people. The second conference is filling up fast. You're going to want to make sure to get registered before September 15th to get the early bird registration and not lose your seat. Please don't email us and ask us to hold a seat for you. There's a very easy way to do it to register. So I'm going to tell you, just go ahead and do it today. Just go ahead and do it today. It's a great registration fee, 2.5 days, continuing education for all of the information that you're going to get. I will guarantee your $999 personally. And by that, I mean that at the end of 2.5 days, if you don't agree that it was worth every penny, I will refund your registration fee personally in cash. I'm that confident. We had 60 people at the first conference. We did not refund anybody. This is the second conference. We do not have a third conference scheduled. We don't know, there will be a third conference someday, but we don't know when it's going to be and we don't know where it's going to be. So if you want to put this information to work for your practice in 2017 and get a jump start on tax planning for the 2018 tax season, you really do need to register now. All right, I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions in the queue. One member says, I know you said it's 2.5 days. Can you tell me what time you plan to wrap up on day 3? I'm just trying to plan flights. Thanks. We will be wrapped up at noon. You will have no problem making it to the airport for a flight at 2 p.m. or later. The Greater Cincinnati Covington Airport is about a 20-minute drive from the Marriott in Covington, Kentucky, where we're going to be hosting the actual meeting. So you'll have no problem making a 2 p.m. flight, and you will not miss anything. Do you have to be a CPA or EA to join TAXCoach? Absolutely not. You do not have to be enrolled to represent clients before the IRS to join TAXCoach. You do not have to be a CPA or EA to attend the Tax Strategy Conference to learn all of these green lights. Now, you do have to be a CPA or an EA to participate formally in the CTM program. But I can tell you probably half of the people who will attend this conference have no intention of joining the ongoing CTM program. They're going to attend because $1,000 for 2.5 days of training on green lights is a steal. So you do not need to be enrolled to get value from this program. Will you ever have it in sunny Phoenix? I think Phoenix would probably be a wonderful place to have the conference depending on how often we sponsor it. I will say, however, that we're probably going to stick to the middle of the country, meaning Cincinnati, Dallas, Chicago, places like that, rather than going too far to the west with time zone changes. Can we get the same conference information without the expense of travel, etc.? Not at this point. We will ultimately have the material from the conference in an online format for people who sign up for the CTM program, which, by the way, is $299 a month as opposed to the regular TAXCoach membership of $99 a month. That's probably a year away. Will the conference be more in-depth than what we can get from your webinar? Absolutely. For 2 reasons, Pam. One, the material itself is going to be more in-depth technical presentation than is available from the webinars. But 2, by coming to the conference, you get the opportunity to network with 60 of your TAXCoach peers from across the country. And I think anyone who has been to a TAXCoach national meeting will tell you that they get just as much value from participating in the TAXCoach community as they do from the specific agenda of the meeting itself. In fact, every October we sponsor an all-star masterminding meeting, which is full for this year, with no conference at all. It is simply masterminding and networking with peers from across the country. And I would say that is probably our most successful meeting. Where is it? It is Cincinnati, Ohio. Make sure to hop in a stranger's car thanks to technology to get to the airport on time. Are there special room rates? Yes, there will be special room rates at the Marriott, and that information will be available when you sign up for the conference. The hotel is not included, but yes, there is a discount. Yes, the program does include CPE, I believe 20 hours for CPAs. I believe it's 14 hours for enrolled agents. I'm not sure, but we can get that information for you. What hotel will it take place? It will be at the Marriott, the Covington, Kentucky Marriott, which is adjacent to the Ohio River, just across the river from Cincinnati, Ohio, November 15th through 17th. Sorry if this was addressed, I came in late. No apology needed, Eric. Will I leave this conference knowing how to put the product strategies into practice without formally becoming a part of Financial Gravity or continuing in the CTM program? Yes. Or will I just know how to offer them without being able to take another financial advisor to replicate? What you missed at the beginning, Eric, was me talking about one of the final segments, which is different business models for incorporating financial strategies into your business. You can certainly incorporate financial services into your business in a partnership arrangement with a financial advisor or advisors that you work with in your local area without having to become licensed, without having to join Financial Gravity or any other particular broker-dealer. The CTM program, look, I'll be honest, TAXCoach is owned by Financial Gravity. Financial Gravity would love to see as many tax professionals as possible join Financial Gravity's organization to offer financial services. I'm not hiding anything in saying, there's no point in hiding anything in admitting that. I'm not going out on a limb there. However, the CTM program is product agnostic and platform agnostic. If you choose to offer financial services, you can do it in conjunction with a financial representative in your area. You can do it as a registered representative. You can do it as a registered investment advisor of your own RIA or of Financial Gravity. So this is the education to support the foundation for those services. But there is no requirement, even if you join the CTM program, that you offer those services through any particular provider. Somebody's asking, what is the monthly fee to be a member? The monthly fee to be a member of CTM program is $299. It includes the full TAXCoach system plus additional resources. When do we start on November 15th so that I can order flights? You want to get in very early if you're coming in on November 15th. You really do want to come in on November 14th. We're going to be starting bright and early. The ongoing CTM program, we will be presenting at the program. What airport do you fly into? CVG. You know what? For years, we resisted having conferences in Cincinnati, Ohio, because Delta Airlines had 90% of the traffic at CVG, and it was the most expensive airport to fly into in the country. We now have Southwest, we have Allegiant, we have Frontier, we have WOW Airlines is coming in, although it won't be until April of 2018, and we're trying to get JetBlue. Cincinnati is now a reasonably priced airport, CVG, and it's 20 minutes from the hotel. What's the difference between the All-Stars and the CTM program? The All-Stars is one-on-one personal coaching. The CTM program is a structured curriculum that includes a designation for those who are looking to specialize in tax planning for financial services. Will the retirement planning section include Social Security optimization strategies? It's not something that's in there now, but it's something that we're going to be discussing as part of the overall CTM program. We do discuss required minimum distributions. We do discuss Social Security planning and planning for taxation on Social Security distributions. Can the TAXCoach program populate from our tax software? No, it does not. If you're new to TAXCoach, if you're brand new to TAXCoach, you'll see that we really are looking to get away from just the numbers in your tax program. When do you anticipate that the CTM program will be rolled out? It is rolled out now, Dave. It is there. CVG Airport, yes, that's correct. No snow in Cincinnati then, right? It would be very rare to have snow in Cincinnati in the middle of November. I can't say that we won't have a frosty night. Can't say that we won't have a freeze warning overnight, but I am pretty sure that there won't be any measurable snow November 15th through 17th. On the other hand, people would have said they were pretty sure that there wasn't going to be 52 inches of rain in Houston. So I have learned as I have gotten older not to take responsibility for things that are out of my control. So the money back guarantee where I refund you in cash if you're not happy with the conference does not extend to snow in Cincinnati. But Pam, good question. Good question. You will want to bring a winter coat. Will you talk about how to market what we have with all of this wonderful tax planning expertise? Absolutely. You will get a step-by-step system for marketing this new expertise to existing clients and new clients. Where do I find information to join? Dave, I'm going to give you a call and I'm going to stop by your office. We'll do it easy. Clint Masser, who asked the question about hosting the meeting in Phoenix, says that snow is why it should be in Phoenix. Snow is wonderful. Everyone's snow is pretty. It will give you a holiday season preview if we have snow, but we're not going to have snow. And by the way, I know that it can get cold in Phoenix too, so don't be smug and superior. All right, looks like that is it for questions in the queue, and we are right at about 2:45 p.m. Eastern, which was the anticipated close time. Look, $999 is not a lot of money to invest in 2.5 days of training on green light strategies and continuing education, and an opportunity to network with tax coach peers from across the country. You really do owe it to yourself to take a look. Go ahead and get yourself signed up today. That way you'll be sure that the early bird discount is still in place, and you'll be sure that you still have a seat for the conference. Look forward to seeing everyone at the conference. If you do have follow-up questions, feel free to call Alyssa at 513-321-2820. She can answer any specific questions that we did not answer here, and we'll be happy to help welcome you to the program. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day.